computer speaker view because I love looking at it. Now, see, why is it speaker view and
It's because it doesn't do yourself. It doesn't do your own.
Oh, that doesn't. Okay, well then I'm going to see everybody. All right, well, welcome to our monthly training call. It is May 1st. I love Mondays that start on the 1st. It's like, what a better way to kick it all off. Plus, it is our call. It's our call day, and you guys, it is hard for us to wait around to come to you just once a month, but attendance-wise, we feel like we have a larger attendance on these calls if we're just doing them once a month. You can actually carve out some time and say, yes, this is important. Yes, I need this training. I'm going to set aside 45 minutes once a month to listen to this training call. So thank you for being on here. Robert and I always try to prepare good content for you, takeaway content, or we have a guest speaker. We already have a few awesome things lined up for the future. So make sure you put June and July on your calendar. All right, so one thing I want to talk about tonight is that the All Access Challenge Pack does continue on for the month of May, and it actually goes all the way through August. All the way through August. So that's super exciting. I know some of you are like, oh, is that good? Is that bad? I'm not sure. And it's great because really the value for $160 is absolutely incredible. And I'm not going to go through it all because you guys know what the value is, but it's unbelievable. And when you add the kickstart to it for the 3-day refresh, you're at $199, and you just giving them 3 days to really kickstart their fitness, get those quick results, and then they have even more belief into the products, and they will continue on, and they're just going to love everything that has to offer in the All Access Challenge Pack. So it's $160. What else do I have to say? April and May. April's over. I don't know how many Success Club points you got, but for those of you who at least got 5 Success Club points, you can add up April and May to reach 20 Success Club points, and you have an invite to one of the biggest parties at Summit. Happens Friday night. It's super fun. So make sure that you really focus on getting those Success Club points to get you to that Summit party. Look for some things I think I have posted on the Elite Stronghold page. Couple of things. One, there's a Google form. If you're not getting our newsletters, go fill that Google form out. There was 39 of you who did fill it out, so there's 46 of you on this call, so maybe go fill it out. There is new training that's starting, New Coach Basics. It cuts off tonight, but it did kick off. That link is in both pages, Elite Stronghold Fabulous Force. There's also a Blitz to Emerald open to all of you. So if you have a coach that you're like, you're so great at this, but you need to have your first milestone, you need to hit Emerald, that kicks off. We are cutting that off tonight at midnight. So if you're not in there yet, you do still have a chance to get in there. And I know many of you have seen this. It's a brand new training. There's 10 of us top leaders who have gotten together who are doing this Lead with the Business training. It's a 10-day training, but there is a requirement. You needed to have hit Success Club 5 in April. And we all got together today. We had a little bit of change of heart. You probably saw the graphic I just put out. And providing some grace to all of you. If you didn't hit Success Club in April, you still have a chance to be in this training by hitting Success Club 5 by May 6th. Then you can be in that training. I've already added several of you. I see your faces. I see your names. I've already added several of you. If you want to be added to that training, take a screen capture of your Success Club points in April or what you have so far in May if you're there at 5, and then private message me. Even if we're not friends, I'll see it, and I will accept that and add you into the group right away. I've added several this morning. Okay, lots of announcements.
Yes, I know. I mean, my head's swimming.
I know. It was a lot. There's been a lot going on. I mean, I've just been getting all this stuff ready, and I mean, no way can you say there's not training provided in our parent group. There's no way you guys can possibly say that.
Right, guys. And that's one of the things we want to go through tonight and talk about, and that's really what you are here to be a part of is figuring out, okay, I've been doing this. Why am I not successful? Or better yet, maybe I know there are quite a few of you on this call right now that we would consider successful Team Beachbody coaches. And when we are talking about successful, guys, we're going to talk about financial success. We're going to talk about success in achieving your goals and big goals, not the occasional get to success club points. And we're not talking about success when it comes to your fitness program. We're strictly going to talk about business, financial success. And the reason why we feel like we can do this is because, frankly, we're experts on this. We have been very financially successful, but we've also done a lot of things that we're going to tell you not to do, and then we're going to tell you the things that have worked the best, not only for us, but by some of the top leaders in this company. So grab a pen, grab a paper. We can see your lovely faces. We can see if you're taking notes. There will be a test afterwards. Yes, there will. And so go ahead and you guys take these notes, because here's the deal. Anytime that we provide a training, and the same thing goes when you have the training coming up that Melissa just talked about, take notes, write these things down, go through them. If you need to go through the recording of this, which will be posted later, write through and fill in your notes, because here's the deal. When you grow your teams, when your teams get larger, and when you're leading a weekly or monthly call just like this, guess what? You already have training to teach them, okay?
Most of the time, the training that we have provided to you is training that we provided 5-6 years ago. It's still relevant today, or it's something that we learned from another leader, another coach, and we're like, oh, that's awesome.
There's no such
training
thing as original material.
So we're like, yeah, we're going to recycle that. Absolutely. This is great. So tonight we're going to give you 5 tips on what makes a successful coach, maybe why you are not a successful coach, because you're not following these 5 top tips. Okay. And number 1 is really the most powerful, what it all revolves around, and is honestly, if you had to pinpoint it, the number 1 reason why a coach is not a successful coach. And that is the vision, the outcome. Do you see it? Do you see it so clearly that you could draw a picture of it right now? That's the number 1 reason why we feel like Team Beachbody coaches are not successful. They don't see that clear outcome, that success that they can have, that new house that they can move into, that dream vacation that they can take their spouse on. That college fund, that who knows where that is now, but if they do these things every single day, that college fund will be full so your kid can go to college. Can you see it?
Right. And guys, there should be nothing. Let me back this up and say this better. You should not feel guilty for wanting to be successful, guys. Guys, we were meant to be prosperous. And gals. Sorry. It's an androgynous guys type thing. But it is, we were meant to be prosperous. We weren't meant to trudge through life and just live day by day and paycheck by paycheck and hand to mouth. Guys, we were made to be prosperous. And because of that, you should not feel guilty for wanting to be. You should not feel guilty for wanting the bigger prize, for wanting to be successful, because just think about what Melissa just said. I mean, that is the biggest thing that holds so many of us back. We can't picture a finish line. And do you want to run in a marathon or run in a 5K or run in any type of race where there is no finish line? You don't know where it's going to end. And so that's why in this business, you have to have a clear, concise picture of what your finish line is going to be. And your finish line, your vision, your picture of success, your outcome is going to be different than our outcome or anybody else's outcome. It's your outcome.
One of the stories I wanted to share, when I started really getting into this business, at first it was totally Robert. He was just kind of dragging me along. I was riding on his coattails. And then I realized, you know what? I want to do this too. I want to be all in on this too. I love to travel. Almost all of you know that. You've seen me, all the trips I go on. I'm just going to lay it out there. I love to travel. Half my money probably goes to traveling. But I had a clear picture that I wanted to take my 2 very young boys at the time to Disney World. We had never taken them. All of my friends had taken them, and we never, ever had the funds to do it. There was no way. But I thought, you know what, with this business and what they were telling us at the time, I had unlimited amounts of potential. And at first I just didn't believe it. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to rein that in a little bit, and I'm going to build a Disney World fun. And my picture, I could see it in my head. I wanted the matching shirts. I want us all every single day. I saw it. I saw us all in matching shirts, standing in front of the castle, getting our picture taken. I could see it so clearly. I could see my sons meeting meeting Mickey Mouse at the Chef Mickey breakfast. I had it planned out to a T. And guess what? It happened. I took our kids, and of course Robert was also working in business. That fun was in there too. We took our 2 boys to Disney World, and I tortured my husband with everyone wear orange shirts today, and everyone's wearing blue shirts today. And we all had characters. I had them printed out, and they were ironed on our chest, and everybody had their favorite ones from the different Mickey movies. And y'all, it was planned out. And I had that clear vision of it. And then, of course, when it happened, I had to create a new vision. So your vision can change, but it has to be so clear it gets you out of bed and excited to get to it.
Right. And, we could even go back further than that. So let's just think about whenever you start a workout program. If we want to look back at it, fitness, and look at the other side of our business, let's just think from the fitness thing. When we started, let's just say when I started with P90X back in 2005, the reason why I started was twofold. Number one, I was sick and tired of looking the way that I looked. I was ashamed to be in my own skin. I was ashamed to go to the swimming pool. I did not like my fitness level. So that's one of the things that when I got started, number one, I had 2 big visions that I wanted to accomplish in that first 90 days. Number one, I wasn't looking to get 6-pack abs. I mean, I definitely wanted to have it if they came along, but I just wanted to feel comfortable in my own skin. I wanted to feel confident in who I was, number one. And number 2, my biggest outcome was I was going to prove this beautiful lady wrong because she said I just wasted our money. And so every time I did a lunge kickback curl press, which suck, and any type of lunge or any type of hour-and-a-half yoga program, all I kept thinking was in my head is, you're gonna prove it wrong. You're gonna prove it wrong. You're gonna prove it wrong. And guess what? After 90 days, when I was in some of the best shape that I've ever been, and when it caught the attention of Beachbody, and when they put me in the infomercial because of those results and things like that, that I was able to achieve my outcome. But every day when I was in that basement pushing play on 4 hours of sleep, it was because I knew what I was going after. I saw a finish line at the end of that 90 days.
Absolutely. You need to see the finish line. Okay, we're going to move on to number 2. And that is you need to take massive action. Not just everyday dabbling, but massive action. Now, what does that actually mean, massive action? Well, it means the average coach reaches out to 2 or 3 people a day. They invite 2 or 3 people a day. They are doing a free group every once in a while. They post every once in a while. But if you want to be a successful coach, if you want to see that finish line, it takes so much more than that. You need to maybe, let's say, invite 20 people a day. Talk to 20 people. Put 20 people on your list. It needs to be way up here, okay? Not just here, but way up here. And it doesn't have to be way up here forever. It doesn't, not forever, but you have to ramp it up there. And that means staying consistent with all of that. It doesn't mean that after you get off this call, you're going to invite 20 people and you're going to talk to 20 people and you're going to start your free group. And by Friday, you completely forgot what was even on this call today. You completely like, oh my gosh, I forgot I emailed this person. Why are they emailing me back? I forgot why I reached out to this person. They just said, hey, what's your name? Like, where do I know you? You know, it can't be that way.
Right. And that just goes back to the sowing, and harvesting, sowing the seeds, you reap what you sow, guys. One of the things but whenever Melissa talks about, the massive action, I don't want you to think that in your head you have to come up with this big, huge ad campaign and this fantastic post, and you have to do all this thing. And so you're going to sit over the next week and try to figure out what massive action you can take. That's called paralysis by analysis. You have to make sure you start. You just have to stink and start. And then if you want to be successful, like Melissa said, and do better than what the average person does, because you're not going to be successful if you want to be average, then you got to take that massive action, take those massive steps. But again, a lot of these things that we're teaching you, you will learn all of this in the training that we have provided and will provide to you. You'll learn these steps. You just have to take action on them. And that's what's massive. And then make your numbers big. Well, real quick, I'm going to tell you a story real quick because it just happened. I've got some land just west of us. We have some land, I don't say I got some, and we did some development, and so and part of it, and so it was just all dirt, okay? And I needed to cover that dirt up. I needed to plant grass. Because just erosion control and everything like that. So I went out there and I bought 6 bags of fescue grass, all right? And so I'm out there with the spreader, and I'm spreading this grass out and doing all this other stuff. Well, guess what? And that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I went by there, I was looking at it today, and man, I put out a ton of grass seeds. But there's sprigs here and sprigs there and sprigs here and sprigs there and grass coming up here and not a whole lot of grass coming up over here, but it's not coming up everywhere. Every one of those seeds didn't sprout grass, but some of them did. And that's what's going to happen when you take massive action. We're going to get to talking about planting those seeds here in just a minute. But that's what's going to happen is some of those seeds that I planted sprouted within 7 to 10 days, like it said on the bag. Guess what? Maybe next week some of those other ones are going to sprout. And maybe in 2 months some of those other ones are going to sprout. Some may not sprout at all. But if I would have never gone out there and slung those seeds out there with a spreader, I would never have grass coming up where it needs to grow. Understand?
I got it.
Now, there may be some birds that come pick up. No, I'm just kidding. We can get into the parable of the sower.
But don't overthink it and just do it. Just do it. Now, number 2 is the small things. I know we talked about massive action. Now we're going to go
Don't forget the small things.
Don't forget the small things. And if those small things are repeated over and over, you will achieve success in that area as well. And those small things are getting your workout in every day. Getting that workout in. That might seem really big to you, and I get that because you're like, that's a big commitment for me. I wake up, I'm super tired. I look at the clock, I push snooze. Now my 25 minutes is down to 20 minutes. Fine, give it 20 minutes. Give it whatever you've got, but do it every single day because when you skip those days, you're not achieving the goals you want to achieve. Drink your Shakeology every day. If you're running late, run another minute late. It doesn't take any time to throw a scoop in, add some water, chunk one of those little shaky things in, and shake it as you walk out the door. It just doesn't take time. There's no excuse that you should not be drinking your Shakeology every single day.
Right. And you know, also, because guess what? Those 2 things are what successful people do. They get their workouts in. They drink their Shakeology. They read a book. All right? They do their personal development. They do the things that they got to do, the small things, mundane things, day in and day out that seem like, how is this ever going to help me? How am I ever going to do this? Believe me, if you cut out one of these things, you will not be successful. This business is a 4-legged stool. Working out, drinking Shakeology, personal development, and then talking to people. Like we talked about in the massive action step, inviting, adding people to your list, reaching out, planting those seeds. It's a 4-legged stool. You take any one of those things out, and guess what? Your chair is going to fall over. Your business is going to fall over. You are not going to achieve success. And those are small things, but they must be done. That's why they're called the vital behaviors.
Number 4 is you need to be reflective and self-aware. So what does that mean? Well, maybe you are like, Melissa, I have been consistent. I've been doing the small things for the whole month. I've been posting. I've been sharing my before and afters. I've been talking about my free group. I've been inviting to my challenge group for the all access. And it's not working. Well, you need to take a step back and say, is there an area that I can tweak? Like, how can I get some more engagement within my Facebook posts? And you know what? When Robert and I first started,
there was no Facebook.
There was no Facebook, for real. There was no social media. So we've had to learn this whole social media business along the way, just like you guys have. And one of our number one tools, and it should be your number one tool as well.
GTS.
Yes, that's your favorite way of saying it. But it is Google. Okay? And in other words, it's Google that. And then Robert likes to fill the stuff in. So if you don't know how to get more engagement on Facebook, Google it. If you want to know how to interact with more people on Instagram, Google it. Don't go to some coach and say, my upline doesn't teach me how to get this. My upline doesn't provide training on how to make better social media posts. We don't need to. There's so much information out there, although I have taught you how to do that. You can go back in the trainings. But you can Google it. You can YouTube it. It should be your number one source for training. And you know what? Maybe it's not this business, but some other business you're in. Maybe you're starting a side business of some sort. Do you realize that no matter what business you're in, you can Google it and you can be successful from the training that is provided? So much training out there. Coaches that maybe you haven't heard of have done incredible training on this stuff, you guys. So there's no excuses on why you are not seeking that additional training you need to improve your post. So if we go back to number 4, being reflective and self-aware, it's looking at it, making a little tweak and change, and pushing it back out there. It's not letting you slow you down. It's not saying, you know what, I can't do the no's anymore. The no should push you even more. You're made to be extraordinary. We have a whole nother sermon on that / training. Yeah. But you are created and made to be extraordinary. Don't let some of these naysayers, these no's, the not right now, get you down. Keep going.
Right. And that's it. And that goes to number 5, guys, because if you're doing all these things, if you're doing all these things, if you're planting the seeds, you've decided to take massive action, you're doing these small things, you're doing everything to move your business forward, to achieve that success. And it's and you're like going, I've just been doing these things. Heck, I've been doing this for the last 5 years. I've been doing this. And then you really take an opportunity to reflect and go, but yeah, I really feel like I've been doing this. Are you really committed? Number 5, are you really committed? And bear with me for a second when I say this. If you are not as successful as you really should be after this amount of time, I'm going to step on your toes and tell you are probably not as committed as you should be. Here's the deal. 99% of the time when you get an objection from somebody, whether it be for a challenge pack, becoming a coach, it doesn't matter, okay? It's because somewhere along the line you asked for that objection. It could be maybe they were able to tell that you just weren't as committed and believed in what you're representing as you think you are. Maybe there's something along the lines that gave them that feeling because, guys, as weird as this sounds, and I don't believe in extrasensory power and all that stuff, and you can keep your texts and emails to yourself. I really don't care to hear about them. I just don't believe that much in it. But that being said, I can tell, and anybody else can tell, if you're truly committed and believe in what you're representing. Why? What does that entail? Well, hey, Robert, how do I build that belief? How can I build that commitment? How do I know? There's several ways. Work out every day, drink Shakeology, read a book. You do those three things, and then you talk to people. If you do those, you can't help believe in what you're representing. You can't help believe in the opportunity that this gives. And as I said, this business and everything that we have within it is a gift, guys. We actually are doing something that doesn't put makeup on people's faces, though I think that's a valuable business.
It's very valuable. I like makeup.
Yeah. Anyway, but and we're We're not selling coffee. We're not selling wine. And I like wine, kind of, and I don't like coffee, but she does. And those are great, and the business opportunity is great there, but what we have actually saves lives, guys. It has the opportunity to save, not only change lives, but save lives. And that is a gift that you can hand to somebody. And you've got to believe that with all of your heart. And the only way that you can believe that is if you're living it. And so and in doing that, part of that, if you truly believe that, then you will be committed because you can see that finish line. You know where you want to go. You know you got to get there. Come hell or high water, you believe in this vehicle that you're driving right now called Team Beachbody is going to get you to that finish line. And you're committed to stay there no matter who says what.
You know, I want to talk about being fully committed. I have a story to share with you guys about a person who we all know who could see that outcome so clearly that he never took no for an answer. And I don't know how many of you have heard the story about how Sylvester Stallone has made it, how he started, and then where that went from there. But I heard this story and I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And I know Robert doesn't know this story, but he's like, really? You know the stories? And I was like, I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to see it on training tonight. So I heard this and I was like, wow, he gave it his all. So when, I guess they nicknamed him Sly, is that right? So when Sly was born, they had to use forceps on him to pull him out. And during that time, it damaged nerve endings on the left side of his face, which is why that side is droopy, why he kind of talks out inside his mouth. We all know what that looks like. We know that that face is a little droopy on that side. But as he grew older, when he was at about 9 or 10 years old, he knew he wanted to be a movie star. He just knew he did. And as he got older and older, he was out in LA and he went to different agents and he's like, I want to be a movie star. And he got turned down. I was like, first of all, we can't hardly understand you. Have you seen yourself in the mirror lately? And he's like, no, I want to do this. I want to do this. And as many of you know, actors can go super broke before they ever make it. And he was married and he was broke. He was so broke that he went and hawked some of his wife's jewelry, which is like a massive no-no. Didn't ask her, didn't have permission. And that's when their marriage broke up. It was like, she's like, you're crazy. I want you to get a job. And you just have this such hardcore focus that I don't ever see happening. Agents have told you no so many times. But he just believed it. He saw himself as this movie star. And that little money that he had, it went away. And he did get a role in a movie, which a lot of people didn't know, and I don't know the name of it. But the agent said, okay, fine. You're so persistent. You've been in my office 4 times. I'm going to give you this part in a movie. And you know what it was? It was 20 seconds, and it was him being beat up by a thug in an alley. And the agent was like, this will fit you. Your face is already drooping. We'll just throw some blood on you and it'll totally look like you're beat up. And that's what happened. And he made a little bit of money. And he was actually in 2 or 3 movies that were like that. Super small parts, all where he was being beat up. And he was like, this isn't what I want. His confidence was totally shot. But he was going to keep going. Now, he had this dog that he loved. But he wasn't getting any more money. His money was gone. He was really hungry. He was so hungry, y'all, that he went in front of a liquor store and was trying to sell his dog. His dog was his best friend. It was really all he had left, but he was so hungry, he was just trying to sell his dog for $50 to somebody. And this guy walked up and says, I'm not paying you $50 for your dog, but I'll pay you $25. So he's like, fine, I'll take $25. Now, he didn't go into the liquor store and spend his $25. He truly did go get food for it. But he didn't have his dog. He literally walked away crying. It was like the lowest point for him. The utter lowest point was when he sold his dog. He does go into a bar, which I'm like, really? You're so broke that you go into a bar? He goes into a bar and sits down, and he sees Muhammad Ali on the TV. It was a fight that he was having against, I don't know who, but you can Google the story. It's out there. And he was having this fight, and he's just watching it. And this other guy is just he's just not going down. And Muhammad is just like totally beating it up. And this guy just keeps coming back for more and more. And it gave him an idea. It gave him an idea. He left that bar, went back to wherever he was staying, and for 20 straight hours wrote. And he wrote out Rocky. He wrote it all out. He had that manuscript finished completely within 3 days. So now it was his time. He's like, this is it. This is what's going to make me my movie. This is how I'm going to get to be a movie star. So he went, and lots of agents said, no, this is sappy. No, this is not, this isn't even believable. We're not looking at this. But he kept going. He didn't take no for an answer. And he found this agent, and he's like, you know what? This is actually pretty good. We're going to offer you $125,000 for this manuscript. That was a ton of money, right? He was broke as a joke. He goes, oh my God, that's great, but just one thing. And the agent's like, well, what is that? Well, I'm going to play Rocky. And the guy's like, no, you're not. No one knows who you are. This movie's going to make it. It has to be a star. He's like, well, then you can't have it. He's like, all right, fine. So Rocky leaves. A few weeks go by, and this agent calls back and says, so have you thought about it? We're willing to offer you $300,000 for that, I say manuscript. Is it called that? Transcript for your screenplay. And he's like, that's fine, but I'm still going to play it. He's like, we can't have you in the movie. You don't understand. This movie will never go anywhere if you're in the movie. He's like, then you're not getting it from me. So hangs up the phone. He just feels so confident. He's like, I still have this drive. I know I'm going to make it one day. That agent does end up calling back and said, okay, fine. We want this manuscript. We'll give you $30,000 for it. So literally it was up to $300,000. Now it's at 30. But he goes, and you can play it. And that way we haven't invested very much if this fails. And, and we're just getting, literally I think they made that movie for very little, like maybe $2 million. And as the story may go, as you know, it made $200 million. He got an Oscar for his performance. And when he got on stage to accept that Oscar, he read the list of all the no's he got. This movie's sappy. Have you seen your face? You don't look like a movie star. You're never going to make it. And he said, every time I got those comments, those no's, it drove me more and more. So are those no's driving you? Are you keeping track of those people who said, this business isn't going to work for you? You're not going to be a success. Everybody quits those businesses. Are you letting that drive you? Or are you making a step back and letting it chisel away your confidence? Don't let that happen to you. Have that pure outcome that doesn't waver, and you will hit success. You will.
Right.
That was my story.
No, that's a great story.
And
I mean, and that's, and so,
you can just wrap it.
Basically, in a nutshell, to kind of wrap every bit of this up is just your belief.
I missed a big part of it.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, not to interrupt. Do y'all want to know what happened to the dog? We have to bring the dog back in.
He's right here.
So
best $25 I've
people
ever
said,
spent.
what did you do with your $30,000? What was the first thing you did? And he goes, the first thing I did was I went to go find my dog. Well, how'd you find him? I stood in front of that liquor store, hoping the man who brought it would visit that liquor store frequently. I stood in front of it for 3 days. On the third day, the man walks by and I recognize him, and I walk up to him. And I said, hey, do you remember me? I sold you my dog. He's like, yeah, I remember your dog. He's great. I love your dog. Well, I want to buy him back. He's like, you can't buy your dog back? Yeah, I want him back. I'll give you $100 for the dog. You paid me $25. I'll pay you $100. He's like, no, I'm not selling the dog back to you. And he's like, well, $500. I'll give you $500. Like, no, I'm not selling you the dog. I love this dog. He's a great dog. Fine. Do you know what he had to do? He was persistent and he wasn't giving up. $15,000 for the dog and a small part in the movie that man got to play. So you can look that up. He has a little bit of part in the movie, and also his dog is in the movie. And literally he paid $15,000 to get that dog back. So I had to throw that in there. Sorry, I know there's dog lovers out there and you'd want to know.
All right. Anyway, so to wrap all this up and just to kind of go through and just recap on here, guys. I mean, it's not rocket science. Success is not rocket science. Success always leaves clues. And so for that, I mean, number one, first and foremost, you got to have a vision. You got to know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, any path won't get you there. And so that's basically what you got to do, is you got to have an eye on the finish line. So what does that mean, Robert? I've kind of just been doing this and going through the motions, thought I wanted to get to some particular rank. This has nothing to do with rank. I wanted to get to some particular dollar figure. This has nothing to do with the dollar figure. This has to do with, where do you want your life to be? Where do you want your family, your kids? You know, where do you want them to be? What's that going to look like? What's it going to smell like? What's it going to feel like? All that stuff. So you got to have that finish line in mind. You got to know where you want to go. All right. So number one, know the finish line, know the outcome. Number two, massive action. What do we mean by that? It's not a massive event, guys, but you got to take massive action. Don't be average. What used to be the game plan was, talk to 2 people a day. Well, that's crap. Talk to at least 10. You don't want to be average, guys. You want to be massive. You want to be massively successful. You want to get to your outcome. And your outcome, your finish line, shouldn't take you 10 years like it did us to get to.
Well,
but it did take that like 10 years. Okay, whatever, however long. Because there's people like, think about Melanie Mitro and Lindsay Matway and all these people that weren't founders like us and were able to kill this thing and be top coaches after 3 years in the business. You can do the same thing, and it doesn't matter if you started 10 years ago like us or you started 10 minutes ago. You can have success just like them, all right? Every tool is there. So take massive action to be a massive coach. Number 3, when you're taking massive action, though, don't forget the small things. Make sure you're doing the 4 vital behaviors, or the things that, like we always just break it down like Julie Voris says, doing your workout, pushing play. And when I'm talking about doing a workout, I'm not talking about going and doing CrossFit. I did CrossFit. That's fine. But CrossFit's not one of our programs. All right? I'm talking about doing one of our programs, starting on day 1, going through day 21, 30, 60, 90, whatever the end of that program is, but you do it every day without fail. Follow a calendar. You got to do it if you're going to believe in it. Drink your shake every day. Robert, it's too expensive. It's $3 and something or $4 a shake. Have you seen how much it costs? I'm not making any money, but how do you expect me to buy this? You know what? Don't do Starbucks. Don't drink a big gulp. Don't do, cut a couple things out. I promise it's the best thing that you can do, and you'll make that money back in spades.
It's like owning a restaurant and not eating in it. That's
right.
Basically what your business would be if you didn't drink Shakeology.
Exactly. So Shakeology, read a book. Okay, you can Google. Guess what? There's great books all over the place. You can go on YouTube and have them read a book on there to you if you don't know what book. So I mean, their Go for No is a great one. There's the Traveler's Gift, Compound Effect, Slide At. I mean, you name it, they're out there. So do that. So that, and then talk to people, and that goes in that massive action. Reflect on, number 3 is reflect on who you are. That's number 4. Reflect on what you've done. Self-evaluate. Have coaches on your team. If you have coaches on your team or your upline, evaluate what you are doing. How am I going to know what I'm doing? Keep a calendar.
Have them look at your page.
Yeah.
Have them look at your Facebook. Hey, will you do me a favor? Will you look at my Facebook page and see, what do you see when you look at it? Where can I improve? I think that's a great idea for y'all to do.
Exactly. So you need to be self-aware, be able to grade yourself and have other people do that. And last but not least, and I think this is probably one of the most important things, is be committed. Be committed to this thing. Okay? You know what? If you're not going to commit to it, if you're just going to stick your toe barely in the water, you will never be successful. You might as well just don't waste your time. Okay? This is one of those things where you got to jump in. And even though, I hate cold pools and I hate being cold and stuff like that, and let's can attest to that. But this is one of the things where you can't stick a toe in there. You can't see if the water's fine. You got to just jump straight in, be committed, and know that you're not giving up on this thing come hell or high water until you reach the finish line. There are no alternatives. You burn the boats. You can't turn back. You go forward and do it. If you want to be successful, you have to do these things. No questions.
I think that's good. I think that's great. I don't know. Do y'all have any questions? We'll stay for just a couple minutes. One of the things that I did miss on my story was people asked, well, if y'all have a question, y'all can type it in. But people ask Sylvester Stallone, like, why didn't you just go get a job while you were waiting to see if you'd be a movie star? Why don't you just go get a job? He goes, because I knew I would lose the fire. I knew I would lose that drive. Next thing you know, my dream would be smaller, and I'd just become normal. I would just be like those other people where the acting was just a dream. I knew that would happen. And some of you might be there going, maybe I should just get a job. Maybe this is really too hard. Maybe I should just get a job and I'll just do this on the side. Well, if you're thinking about that, I honestly think what would happen is you'd find even less time for your business. It would become less of a priority. You wouldn't put in massive action if you were to do that. If you take that time that you would have to go into a part-time job and truly focus, I mean, what is a part-time job? 15 hours a week? Truly focus 15 hours a week on your business, you would be blown away. Do you know how many people? You could talk to like 50 people in a day with all that time on your hands. Little conversations. Hey, how are you doing? Love that picture. Can you believe summer's around the corner? Oh my gosh, it's short season. Are you working out? What's your program that you're doing? Oh, really? You're looking for a new program? I mean, the conversations are just short and sweet, short and sweet. You could be talking to 50 people all day long if you had that much time on your hands. So anyway, that was just something quick. I know I just start rolling, but no questions. So we're going to let you go. I think it's saying I want to share my screen. That's not what I want to do. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. Please put this call for June. I already have a guest speaker lined up. She's going to give you some awesome training, super duplicatable. Work on getting into my trainings. May 8th training is going to be awesome. It's a training we've never, ever done before. It's 10 days led by 10 different leaders.
But what do you have to do in order to do that?
You have to hit Success Club. I'm giving you a second chance. Success Club by May 6th. You guys can do it.
You can do it.
Have a great night.
God bless you. Soon. Have a great evening. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.